Hello and welcome back to the channel. Last week we did a bit of an introduction into the vehicle and the sort of build I'm going to be doing, and we got a little bit of a game plan together when we started getting some of the wood cut out, and kind of got the brief layout of what we're going to be doing. So we got some parts cut out now. I'll show you a little bit of where we got to last week. So this is what we achieved last week. We got a few bits of wood cut. We've got the rough layout and the rough spacing and the measurements of everything we're going to do. And this week we're going to start by marking out where this panel is going to go. We're going to get the access holes cut in here. We're going to get them all routed. We'll get the piece of wood that's going to be going across here to support the bed base put on, these panels in, so all that panel can then get fitted in place permanent. And then over this side we're going to do similar. We are going to mark and cut out the access holes for here, get all this all fitted in. We've got to do some insulation inside underneath here where the battens are, and then we can then start on, I'm thinking, this panel in here and the fridge compartment. I'm going to try and find some nice wood for a nice worktop to go on top of here. Maybe some nice live edge wood would be quite nice. So I'll probably put that off for a little bit until I find what I'm looking for. So yeah, let's crack on. And I think we're going to start with this piece, so then we can get the spacings right and everything. So let's get this marked and get some holes cut out. So for cutting the cutouts in here that we're going to put in, we need to find what height the base needs to be. So we're not going to cut below the bed height. So it needs to be, so from this top edge here, it needs to be 15mm up to allow the thickness of the wood that's going to be sitting on the top. And then we're going to have like a little step above that. And then from there we can then know where our line's going to be for our access, because you're not going to want it level with the bed frame, so about with the bed base. So you can see there, we're going to probably come up to about the 3 or 4 centimetre mark before we start doing the cut for the access, because the last thing you want is for all your mattress and everything like that to start falling inside this little access hole here. So I do some head scratching and try and figure out where I'm going to place these holes. It's been a week since we've been doing any of this, and I left the wood in, and we've had a bit of a water leak here. You can see how it's gone that bit of a grey colour. It's really not ideal, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get that out. Luckily the mattresses are going to be on top of this, but we've got a bit of a water leak that's coming from out of this gutter here. It's coming out a little hole and dripping down. So it's the most likely suspect is going to be this alpine seal. I know all the roof here is all sealed up. There's a load of condensation in there, but it's not running down and along that bad. It's going to be coming from this, probably here where this seam is. So I know they need doing, so that's going to be another thing next on the list to get them done. That's why I've not insulated around them all here yet, because I knew it was going to need doing soon. So before I get all of this mounted in properly, I'm going to have to make sure I get them done first, because all of this isn't going to be oiled and protected until the very end. So we can't get this in until I've done that. Isn't it really strange for a Land Rover to have a water leak inside? It's really weird, isn't it? I think I might end up doing a video of every single leak point of a Land Rover. I think that might be quite a long one, but I think it's going to be quite a good one, to be fair, so I might be doing one of them in the future. If you'd like any proof of why insulating is a good idea and how the cold metal surfaces that are in contact with the outside condensate, nice and dry, cold metal, all nice and dry and warm again, condensation, and slight condensation there, look. So that's the difference. Nice and wet cold steel, well, cold alley, and then nice and dry. So this is why you want all the surfaces covered with insulation if you can. Any cold surface like this will condensate. And when we went up to the Arctic, any metal panel that's in contact with the outsides of any of this, anything, even if you had a screw here that went through the wood and into the metal frame, the head of the screws were frozen. Every single thing that is in contact with the outside had frost on it. So when you were in bed and you were lying here and you rolled over and touched your back on that, you knew about it because that was like -20, -30, and this was nice and warm t-shirt weather. Like, but this was all nice and warm, and yeah, literally like a layer. I might have a photo somewhere if I can put it on, of literally just all that was like ice. It was so cold that the mattress actually froze to this wood here, and it had insulation underneath like that. It's definitely a surprise. Well, anything under here where we had the floor across was frozen. Anything under here would freeze. Like, this didn't defrost for like 2-3 weeks. We made the mistake one day of putting the gas bottle under here, and we had to sit it in front of the heater up here to defrost it so we can have our morning breakfast. We left a line underneath here for our water jerry can thing we had, and that froze solid. But we were warm. We were actually warm in the back. Like, you didn't even need your sleeping bag. It was so warm. So yeah. Anyway, going on. This is why you insulate properly, so you don't get condensation or cold spots where you'll end up with moisture. Like if you were to put some wood over here or something, it would actually get, the wood would get damp, and you'd have loads of problems, or your carpet would be damp. This marked up, you can see I got my line for the height of the bed that's 15mm up from that edge for the thickness of the ply. I've marked where the braces, internal braces, are going in here, and then I've measured 2.5 centimeters in, because that's roughly how much spacing I want to go in for. So I've got this internal line, that one, and that one. This is going to be radiused here. So I've got all of that marked, but then here, this M panel is going to be going on here, on this outer edge. So and they're going to be fixed with pocket holes coming in along from this way in, because the panel is going to be on the end. So I've got to go and drill a pocket hole in a bit of scrap, so I can figure out the spacing I'm going to need away from that hole. So then I can then figure out, I think it's going to be to about here roughly, and then from there I can then go halfway between the two and get my middle point, and then measure 2.5 out from them. I've got the pocket hole jiggle set up now and some scrap bits of wood, so I can get my set distance for where the hole's going to be, where the screw goes in. So that wood's going to be fitting on this end here. So let's get the hole drilled and get it together, and then I can see if I set it up right. So you can see I've got the hole drilled, so I've got my spacing, screws in, and it's not sticking out the back. It's a really nice tight fit. So that's what we're going for. So 1.25" screws. So I need to try and get that distance away on that end panel. Right, so it took some head scratching, but I've got it all marked out now. So I've got my space for the pocket hole here, where they're going to go in that way. I've got even openings here, spaced out from that brace. A nice middle point, it's going to be wide enough. And then I've got the holes marked for the radius where this hole saw is going to go. So that's a 44mm. So mark 22mm, 22mm, I've got an X for it. So I'm going to do a little pilot hole first for each of them. As these normally come with a metal drill bit, so I'll set a little wood drill bit through. So I think I'm going to get the holes cut first, and then once the holes are cut, I think I'm going to get some of the pocket holes done ready, and then I think I'm going to set the router up to cut the straight parts out, so I can line it perfectly up with where the holes are, in case the holes are slightly out. And I think it'd be neater than doing it with a jigsaw. Right, so I got them holes cut out now. What was really nice was the brand new hole saw bit was blunt, and as you can see, burnt it all again. We've got it cut. I got the pocket hole bits done as well, there under there. But the camera was shaking around, so I'd turn the time lapse off. So next I'm going to line up the wood and change the router bit, and probably run along and cut them bits there, and then these bits. So start routering them bits out now. Right, so I've got all that I can routed out, but I can't do this edge here, so I need a board to run up against on this side. So if I put it this side and try and cut it, I can guarantee the router's going to kick out and dig into this surface, and I can't damage this little piece here. So what I'm going to do is use a jigsaw and carefully cut down here. Same happening here, I can't get anything there. So try and cut these bits out with the jigsaw here. And what I'm using is like a backwards focuses, is the teeth are actually going downwards. Look, as you can see here, they're actually going down. It's an Irwin 105-04223. So when it's this is the show face again. So when I'm cutting, it's actually going to go down again and blow the back side of it out and not this top surface. So I'm going to give this a go now. See how steady of a hand I've got to cut this nice straight line. It doesn't really matter as much what's happened to this very top surface, because all of this is going to be routed, a nice rounded edge, so it will take the little edges off. So it's mainly these little bottom surface where the router runs on. Right, wish me luck. So there we go. There's all them little hatches cut out. You can see where the hole saw burnt the wood a bit, whereas the router did a lovely job. And then this was done with the jigsaw. You can see what I mean about how it's cutting down, so you have a nice crisp edge here and then quite a rough cut underneath. So the next step now is, if there's any little slight steps on these corners, they all need sanding nice and smooth, because when we use the router to round all the edges off, so you can get it to focus, it has a ball bearing on the bottom, a little roller bearing, sorry. So when that's running, that little bearing is going to be sitting down on the bottom of the wood. So any little notch that there might be is going to really show it on the rounded edge at the top. So that's why I need to spend a bit of time and get it nice and smooth, and then just run this round, and there'll be a lovely little rounded edge on all of the corners then. I might actually try maybe a 45-degree cut first, just to see what it might look like on a bit of scrap. See if I might try something a bit different with this build, but if not, I'll set this up and use this. Right, it's another day. It was getting a bit dark last night, had to go out, so called it a night. Today it has been snowing and raining, and it's cold, so we're going to do a bit of insulation on this pan. So we're going to get all this sound deadened and get some foam on it while it's a bit miserable outside. Excuse the noise, the heater's blowing away. So when I was saying the other day about the water ingress here, and it's leaking from up this gutter rail through like one of the bolt holes, it's definitely the Alpine seal. You can see there it's coming through the glass and then pulling up on the inside and then running down. So I'm going to have to get that sorted sooner rather than later. I did put this bit of, I call it dum-dum, I put that in that gap. You see how the seal's separated? How the seal's shrunk with age and caused a gap. So that's where a lot of the moisture used to come in. So I knew they were past it, but I'm going to have to do them now because I don't want water getting on the wood. So let's get cracking on this bit. I've got to clean it and try and cut the panels and heat them and whatnot, and I'll leave you on time lapse and show you. So just quickly before I start, this is stuff I'm using. It's off Amazon, this stuff. I have been using a lot better stuff on here. Look, it's a lot thicker. I'll put a link to that stuff, and then this other stuff off Amazon. It's the only. I didn't want to spend loads of money on that stuff again, really, so I went a bit cheaper, but it's really thin when it focuses, but as long as it seals it all up and helps a bit, there's not going to be any noise problems under here. So this should be fine. I'm leaving it by the heater just to try and make it a bit softer to use. I've left some of it inside on the radiator, and then I've stole the wife's hairdryer that she wasn't very happy about. So then when I've got these heated up and cut, I can heat the panels up and then roller them in. That's going to seal it nice around these holes then. So yeah, let's get going. So you can see I've got that all put in there now, nice and neat, all around the edges of this filler neck. So my next plan is to get these panels in here, and then the offcut from doing this bit will fit in these bits here, and then I'll do all this bit. So it will end up like that. So yeah, I need to get some more sheets. I think that was about half the kit, so I'm dubious whether this is going to do it all or not. But I've got, as long as I've got that bit done and this bit, all that bed can go back in then. I can do this little bit here at a later date, and that bit over there, which is where the wood's going to go. Also, I've noticed I'm getting some moisture and water coming in around here somewhere. You can just about see it's damp on this bottom edge here, so I've been trying to watch where that's coming from. I'm going to guess it's from up there again coming down, but it's quite far over, so I'm not sure. We'll see, I'll keep an eye on it. Right, so it's getting a bit dark now, I hope you can actually see, but I've got all that all done now. Got it all wrapped around everywhere, so that's everything sound deadened. I've come up to just this edge and you can see it here, but all that's all done, all wrapped around nice up to that edge. So next is to fold tape all the gaps, so any bit where there's like it looks a bit messy will be covered anyway, so that'll form a nice watertight vapour barrier. And then it's probably I'm going to put some foam insulation in here, build it all the way up to the top of this batten, and do all this bit here and around here. I'll leave the floor bit in here until I've got the wood in, so I can get the right distance. So fold tape and then foam, but I think that's going to be it today. Again, I left it a bit late, but yeah, probably need to get a light in here so I can do some stuff after work. But yeah, there we go. So it's been another week, so let's get back onto this bit of a project. So just reminding myself I've got to sand these out, ready to router it all off. All the corners are all nicely routed and rounded off now, look. If you can see, if it focuses. So next is to sand all this off, see where it ever so slightly burns in some places. I think I'll do with a new bit. So all that needs sanding back now. And then I'm going to get this panel on there and then route to that edge. So there we go, there's one panel finished. I'll just give it a quick sand for now. It gets sanded again once it's all together, but you can see, oh, nice rounded edge now. So next is to get the ascend panel on here, route to that edge and sand it, and then probably I've got to cut that panel down and then get that one back on. And then I can fit it in. First mistake. So I drilled these the other day, they're right. I thought, oh, I'll just get the tool and put it back on and drill 2 more. Well, it must have moved, hasn't it? Because now these are too far in. So I've got to, luckily you won't see any of this. So I'll just put them in different locations here in the right spacing. So I've got to settle this back up and redo them. I'm glad I noticed that, because if not, they would have come through that end panel. So there we go, there's that end panel on. When you put the pocket hole screws in, you have to be careful, because you can hold this level and then when you tighten the screws up, because they're at an angle, they will actually pull the material down further. So it's a bit of a fiddle to get it all lined up properly. But yeah, it's turned out not too bad, to be fair. I've rounded that edge off again there, look. I remember using this bit before. It's actually not in the way of the pocket hole screws, so it doesn't poke through, so that won't make too much of a mess. But yeah, there's the first bit on. So I've just hooked that in place roughly for now. This is the panel I was struggling with to get right. You can see that there is what we're looking at, 8.5, and this one is 10. So I need to take 1.5 centimetres there. That is the thickness of this wood. So I'm going to run 15mm off that edge and then run some screws in this side. This is where the heater is, if you remember. The heater's about here. The pipe's going to go up there. Yeah, 15mm off there and get that pocket hole this side so you can't see it when you're looking in the car, because you'll see this bit through the hole. So I've got it placed in now so that I can get the proper marking for where this needs to attach to here, so I can get that butted up there, get this all butted up to fit right against this panel, get this square in somehow, it says, and then get a mark on here so then when I go over there it's going to be in the right place. So there we go, first piece in. This is all nice and on. I've got my screws down in here going this way. They ain't poked through. I've got some brackets on here because I couldn't get a pocket hole jig tool in here. So nice little L-shaped brackets. Everything's pulled in nice. It's looking good. So I think the next thing I might do now is, what am I going to do? I think I might leave this one as is for the moment, because I'm gonna try and find some wood to go on the top of here. I might do some nice live edge, thick wood on here. I'm not sure what yet. So I've got my spacing now for here. This is all setting in. This isn't really moving anywhere now. So what I'm going to do now is focus on this side. So I need to get all of this. I started foiling some of it on a lunch break. So I need to finish foiling all that with all this tape and all the joins, and then get all the foam built up to here. And then I'm going to have a go cutting all them holes. Eventually I got it all foiled, so that's sealed up all the little joins and there's little gaps, stopping your moisture coming through, make a nice proper barrier. So now I'm going to focus on getting some foam. I'm going to get some of the foam insulation here now. Possibly I might actually run it up the back a little bit, maybe, I don't know. Nah, let's just do it flat here. Yeah. So this is what I'm using for the foam. It's actually 6mm thick. I prefer the thicker stuff really, but I kind of ordered it wrong. But it's basically just self-adhesive, closed cell foam with a foil liner on it. So I might have to do a couple of layers to build it up to here, and then again that fold tape over the top. I'll do like a full video, I think, just on insulating and what I use and what I found works quite well, as I think that's the whole video in itself. So I won't bore you now. I'll get this in because I think that will have to call it for today, so we'll see. Right, so I've got all that all insulated. I've got 2 layers of foam in here. 1 layer on this side because I'm going to wait till all the compartments in before maybe putting a couple extra layers in there. Insulated all at the end over here, and again full lined it all. So that's most of that insulation is all done. So I'm going to call it for this episode. It's been 2 weeks now. It's just trying to do bits here and there while I've got time. But all of this is all in. That's all looking quite nice now. And I've got all that done. So next one is going to be getting all of this panel in, measured up from this distance across, nice and even. I'm going to get all the holes cut and the tops put in. The end panel all mounted in, so that can all go in. This bit's going to be done till last. And I'm going to get the worktop on, because then that's all going to tie it together, so that's going to be quite a good episode. So that shall be it. Oh, can't see me. Thanks for watching, and thanks for putting up with it. It's a bit slow progress, but bear with me, and it's going to turn out quite well. So thank you for watching, and see you later.